about your experience being here and what it feels like to be...
My experience of being here is extremely hot, and why anyone would ever have built a city on the middle of a earthquake fault and where it gets to 106 degrees or something. It's a bit mad, isn't it? You're not even under an umbrella. Does your budget not stretch that far?
My budget doesn't stretch. You know, Downton has really been so popular, and it's grown, I think, in popularity. Over the 2 years, people are rabid for it to start up again. What is it like to have that sort of recognition and to have the popularity without compromising any sort of aspect of the story?
It's very surprising because I've spent a 23-year career trying to get anyone to take any notice of anything that I ever made. And then sometimes you have a show where you don't have to try because people genuinely respond to it and have genuinely fallen in love with it. And they, you know, so many people, millions and millions of people around the whole world are invested in this show, and that's obviously it's a very heartwarming thing to think you're really you know, the drama entertainment can really impact in that way. It's terribly exciting.
Sure, well, I know, especially working on stories. Every story is your baby. What is it like to have a story like this where it's innovative because it's a period piece, but it's not based on any sort of novel or previously written material? So what is it like to have that sort of lightning strike now?
Well, what you're talking about is entirely where I think the success of the show is, that it goes into a world that's quite familiar, this historical British history, in a way that we look for our drama. We look so much into the past because we've always known that history is the best source of stories. I think sometimes in the US, its very nature has always been about the now and about the future. And one forgets that there's thousands of years of history behind us, and history is just, you know, there's endless stories. What we've done with this, though, which is quite unusual, instead of taking this, raiding from this wealth of literary history, we've got an original concept, and that gives us all of the freedom you would have in it with any modern show. We can respond to what people like and what they don't like when they're watching the show. We can make up the whole thing as we go along, and that's a very modern style of storytelling, but in a genre that's very familiar and comforting to people, I think. And I think that's the alchemy of it.
Right. Are you excited to be moving forward into post-World War I jazz age? I mean, I know as an American I can say I'm looking forward to understanding a bit more about the history on the other side of the pond, so to speak. But for you, are you excited to be moving into a new realm?
It's great because we go through history like this. It does mean each season has got a slightly different flavour to it. You know, now in this post-war era, there are other agendas, and you know, because popular history always says it was the First World War that started to change that world that we've depicted, that those massively deep-rooted class divisions that were in Britain started to change after the First World War, because all those men, whether they were rich or poor, high-born or low-born, they were all dying together in the trenches of France. And that was the thing that when they came back, people said, we're not going back to the way it was. So that friction in that society is just going to get more and more as we go through the future episodes.